Good morning, good afternoon, or whatever that is. I really don't know, because the time is passing the last module. I have the pleasure to speak to you guys today about fear factor, which is a topic that I have chosen because I felt very fascinated by fear as omnipresent feature in our life, and especially doing business and working for corporations and larger or smaller companies. I felt that I have met with this fear factor quite often, and that's why I have picked it up, and as I take you through my presentation, I'll come to the point which I want to make. So first of all, it's about the leader. Like, it's the person that we expect to change the industry, have great ideas, lead some people to some kind of result, and then celebrate it. So with leader, there is already fear factor present. Like, if the leader is not good, if he's fearful, he will not achieve anything with himself, with the teams, and with the organization. So he's surrounded by the team, so he works with employees and teams and co-workers, so it's impacting the organization, it's impacting the environment, larger environment, meaning partners, and the whole industry. So fear is basically omnipresent, and I feel it's important to talk about it and its implications. My hypothesis for the thesis, for the work I did, sorry guys, you can't see it properly, I didn't know the environment. But what it says is fear to differentiate is the primary driver of mediocrity for brands in the market, as if brands lost their guts and courage to stand out and stand for something crisp. I feel that the point I'm trying to make is the fear is there. There are many drivers of fear in our industry, in leadership, and in the market. But the point I'm making is about fear to differentiate. Like, I think many brands have lost their guts to kind of stand out and differentiate themselves. It's the crisp point that I would expect from a brand to say, a story, a point that they are trying to make. There are many average brands in the market, and you kind of lose yourself as a customer. What's the differentiation? So this is what I'm researching. And the question is then how to create a fearless organization. That's the ultimate goal of my research. A word on differentiation. I talked about it. I think there are many nice publications about how brands are losing their crisp point and their clarity, what they are trying to say and what they are trying to sell to us. And there is this research of Jack Trout and Kevin Clancy that says that out of 46 categories, 40 categories are losing on brand differentiation. They have done the research on 2,500 brands, and I think it's pretty massive, And if you take it to our industry, 7% of primetime commercials found to be differentiating, which is pretty sad, right? Lack of courage, it's another one. If you don't have guts, what are you trying to achieve in the market? There is this Living the Brand publication that says that brands have increasing difficulty in differentiating themselves. They are trying to be upfront and stand for something. And then, there are people in the world, in politics or in history or in business, that do it. There are courageous leaders, there are fearless leaders who achieved it. Why they have done that? Why they have gone and taken the tougher roads? Why people do that? On another note, I think if you see brands that go any place, like, why they go there, why they sell their products to everybody, why they offer themselves to everyone. I call this brand prostitution. It's because the brand doesn't know where is it trying to go. They don't have a clear story, and I call them brand prostitutes. What is important for fear is to understand what's the familiarity or versus novelty. You know, there is this old fable of Aesop from 1884, which talks about the fox. When the fox meets the lion for the first time, it's frightened, it would like to hide itself, right? The second time the fox meets the lion, already doesn't hide, it faces, you know, confronts the fear. And the third time they have a nice conversation, they talk like old friends. So it's about overcoming and facing the fears, facing the new, and new is connected with the fear, and that's a very important factor to consider when we talk about fear factor. Then I would please Rike in the room, because there is this guy, Mr. Hofstede. It's a Dutch author, writer, who researches national cultures versus organizational cultures. And he tries to put together the social norms, some kind of system that the society has built, religion, education, family, politics, and some legal systems, and put it into the context of novelty, how people face new situations. And he claims that, you know, the Nordic countries or nations are the less fearless. They really don't have problem facing novelty and dealing with ambiguity. So these guys should be the leaders, you know, opposed to maybe Latin world, where you can see Mexico is really on the other side. Sorry if I didn't please somebody. Then coming back to the context of not only leader but organization, there is DDB definition of internal culture, the 4 freedoms, they call them: freedom from fear, freedom to fail, freedom from chaos, and freedom to be. For me, this is really great stuff, because you know, if you encourage your people to fail and maybe reward them also for failure, rather than punishing them for doing and trying new things and taking their bonuses because they failed, I think it's amazing. Then another thing, it's related to the familiarity or to the predictability of things. It's the work that Martin Neumeier in Brand Gap, he wrote about strategic or logic sequence of thoughts or decisions versus creative thinking, where you cannot expect, and it's the zigzag of their thinking of how their thoughts flow. And I think that's also interesting to say. Smell of fear. Another thing, another research, current research from Julian Brechbuhl. She talks about some Grünberg ganglion that is in olfactory system of ours, that we can smell via some pheromones. We can really sniff out fears, which I found interesting. How many leaders you have seen scratching their nose, or, you know, touching their nose when they kind of think about something, or is it risky or not? I've seen that many times. So I'm not here only to entertain, but I have done some research. So my methodology was quantitative, qualitative. I had a sample of 50 people. I mean, it was 50-53, so for both it was the same sample size. I have, on the quantitative side, I have sent out a questionnaire, and I have done it through SurveyMonkey. I have collected from various international professionals, from advertising industry to psychology, technology, and, you know, it was really, I'm not saying it's perfect sample, but because the response rate was as good as you can see, 50 people. But I think I have a great sample of people on various positions, male, female, and so on. So it's kind of balanced, I would say. For the qualitative, I have done on LinkedIn collaborative research, where I have placed a question. I have asked a question, what they think, and we started debating. So I got a pretty solid amount of answers, and they are quite rich. But I'm not sharing it here. It's in the folders that you have. Then I was very ambitious, and I wanted to do a few interviews, but I failed. I have done only one. but it was also interesting to see how people deal with their time. And then self-study, and I have to talk a little bit about errors, because I think they influence the point of view. What's the most important is that fear is such an ambiguous topic. People tend to agree and disagree at the same time. They say it has positive as well as negative impact. So kind of it mingles and it melts together, and it's really tough to look at it only from one side. And second is maybe my scale. As I go, I explain it. So first part, sorry to jump so fast, is the impact of fear on creativity. This is from my quantitative research. You can see that almost 90% of respondents tend to agree that fear has an impact on creativity, versus only 13% that disagree. Then I was interested in knowing whether it has a positive or a negative influence on fear. So you can see that the majority says it negatively influences creativity. But if you look at this is the amount of people that said it influences positively as well as negatively. So there is this ambiguity in it. Then I wanted to understand what the positive influence is, because we want to kind of get the positive sides of fear. You can see that 42% say that fear creates pressure that can lead to higher creativity or better results. Then you have 30% or 31% that fear makes me or my team colleagues to try harder. Or you have 29% fear forces me and my coworkers to find new alternatives. So it gives you more options. It opens the space. Then I wanted to understand also the negative side, because that's what we are trying to convert to the positive. So you can see that 60% of people said that we skip ideas because of fear, or that fear kills creative ideas altogether, or we have to adjust them that they fit expectations of others, or due to fear we soften sharp ideas. So the crisp you try to kind of polish according to the feedback you get. Then what are the sources of fear in creativity? It's a pretty busy slide, but just pick up on the few points. You can see that 73% of people said that they feel a need to fulfill management or public expectations. Or for example, 71% said that they are afraid of potential failure or mistake that they will make, and there is a consequence to it. That's the price of fear you pay. Then I was going into another level, because we said it's the leader, it's the teams, it's the organization, and it's the industry. So I wanted to understand the leader. You can see that there are two charts. One is leading employees and teams, and the other one is suppliers and partners. So it's one level and the other level, right? So you can see that 34.5% say yes to that fear is in place in leading employees and teams, and 36.4% for employees and teams, and 67.3% they sorry, I mixed up. The majority says that the fear is present in leading themselves and employees and teams, and then that's the smaller amount of people that agree with leading themselves and employees and teams. And similar results are on the other side, but the amount decreases over here. Then the implications for organization. You can see that again we have a majority of respondents saying and agreeing that the fear is present. I was interested also in researching how it impacts vision and innovation. I'm quite surprised by the results. I thought that the difference will be much bigger, and I assume that it's because vision and innovation, as you ask about them, they are very conceptual, like they are intangible, because if you dream up a vision about a brand, you still dream, you know, so it's something that you would I think you would not include fear into the dreaming phase, rather in the implementation. So that's how I explain it, but I don't have further details. Then I want you to know, because you produce a product or a service or creative work, so I wanted to understand how much people test and whether they test always. Is it in their processes, or they do not test, or how is it? So I have found out that 64% of them test sometimes. Only 18%, which is positive, I think, test always, and never test is 18%. I want to work for the 18% that never test. This is another one where I try to understand, so what is it they are looking for when they test, what questions they go into the research. You can see that 62% it's potential usage of the product, of the service. 58% is fits customers' expectations, which is sad. And then, for example, 53% positive reaction. So we seek approval of people. And then I was interested whether people only produce, the brands produce only, and they go for projects that have positive business case, that they calculate and, okay, this will be positive in return on investment or not. And you can see that only 36.4% say yes. So the rest would allow other options. And in my further research, I'd like to research how and why, and I have in some soft answers also reasons, because there is something strategic behind it they go for, or they have something that gives them the return on investment, and they have space for kind of trying the new. So I think this is very positive. And then coming to the last layer, which is wider, the industry, you can see that majority of respondents say, 80% says we are fearful industry. There is fear omnipresent in our business, in everyday life. And this question asked was in May 2008. So imagine if I ask it today, it would be, I think the blue part would be even smaller, because we are in the financial crisis. So I think it's something to really care about and think about. Coming back to my question, how to create the fearless organization, because that's the ultimate goal. So I was trying to think of qualities of leaders that we would seek. It's basically, they are independent, they do the zigzag, unpredictable, they are distinctive, they are visionary, they create a religion, they have a tribe, they are challengers, they try new things, they are fearless, they love crisis, love ideas, they are competitive, they are really picking up a fight with everyone for a good reason. They are customer centric, they are the trendsetters and mavericks. They create problems rather than solve them. They are courageous, they have the truthful approach, they are ethical, and so on. So these are the qualities that we would seek in leaders, that we want to appoint for leading a brand, leading a team, leading the industry. And then again, I talk about fear, and I'm afraid standing here myself, but it's about deliberation, right? We want to be free as leaders, and we want to achieve something in the industry. So I was kind of thinking whether I should do this or not, because this is, I felt, giving guidelines is against my own mentality, and I live in a world that is pretty German and sketched out quite clearly. So this is the moment where I want to share 10 freedoms from fear, though I think it's very marketing and very commercial, but bear with me. So first rule is keeping it low hierarchy, low key, low structures, low principles. Keep it simple, right? Because if you grow as a company, the principles and the rules and the structures become more and more complex. Create a culture free from fear. It's back to the DDB example where they have these 4 freedoms. It's important to create and nurture the culture where people can really grow, can try things, and can fail, and you reward for the mistakes they make, because they are the learnings for future of the company. Find your own tribe, meaning find your own audience, the rich in a niche. Don't be there for everyone, which is leading me to the revolution, stopping the brand prostitution. No word said more about that. And we should really use our nose more. You know, we should sniff out the danger, the fear, and try to confront it and face it, and find a solution how to manage it. The question is, do you really need to test? I think if there is a bunch of people in a room who talk about an idea and they can agree, oh yeah, go for this, don't test, because you kill creativity and you kill the new. Middle is the trouble. You know, you have either customers or people loving you or hating you, and if you are in the middle, you will soon be in trouble. Linear thinking is predictable. I mean, if you walk a straight line, everybody knows what's your next step, but if you jump like this, nobody knows where your dance leads you. So it's nice to have the refreshment inside of a company, as well as the dance in the market is then a nice conversation. Familiar is dangerous, which is mostly what I already said. And have no set rules. I mean, if you have a set of rules, you are quite predictable. Everybody can read what you are planning to do. And that's it.